Most people in America are familiar with how we can modify our physical being in order to make ourselves feel a little better, a little bit less tired, a little bit more beautiful, a little bit more handsome, a little bit more comfortable in aspects of our natural being that might have been a problem for us our whole life. We also know that there are people who are monsters who think they have the right to commandeer a human being while they're sleeping or while they've drugged them and do horrible things to them in the name of their Lord, which is usually them, not God in heaven or Jesus Christ or any other deity such as Ganesh that people around the world have come to worship, come to praise, come to thank, come to viably understand through diligent reading of quote unquote the Word. And the Word might be a scriptural text of historic works. You see, historic works, archaeological digs, and other aspects of, well, history and heritage, as for those of us who love that sort of stuff, are important. It teaches us where we've come from, it teaches us who's been here, and it's teaching us what we can possibly become. It also teaches us the lessons of the world, that hate and war does nothing but create more hate and war. And openly, we've had foolish presidents who thought they were doing the right thing in the version of what they thought was going on, but maybe during the transfer of information between one presidency to the next president, which is sort of like in a business, they didn't get all the intel. I mean, we all know the stories of when Clinton and his wife just looted the whole fucking White House, because that's what we heard about in a Republican home, and it was put on the news that they were cleaning everything out. My parents, of course, adjusted it to that sort of simple aspect of that they didn't want to leave anything behind for other people to look at, read, and understand. But the truth is, the history and the lineage of the presidency of the United States White House is supposed to leave back for others and the next guy coming in the notes of what they've accomplished. This is a standard practice in business, and America is a business. America is a global business leader in the world, but how much does it take to debilitate America is how many countries want to come here, rape, pillage, and fuck our lives out of our birth certificates is a real concern today. You see, we've had years and years and years of this moronic, ancient type of educational program in our school systems that said, kid, you can go off and become anything you want, even a super rock star, pop star, musician, whatever, guitarist, drummist, and do something. And still, coming from Hollywood, we've got these ridiculous fucking films. I thought we were going to have a cool coming of age film coming out, and then I watched the rest of it and said, holy shit, we got another piece of crap coming out of Hollywood of teaching these children that any type of thing is okay in America, and it's just not. We're still not in that society. Now, I say this carefully because when it comes to the individual, we have the right to become anything we so choose in the freedom and the part-time of our life or the full-time of our life. And we absolutely have children who are trained and raised from age 3 to sing, to dance, to do things because their parents, like the Jacksons, wanted them to become famous. And they had a little bit of a indication that God was sort of giving them that sort of a musical bug. But a lot of that is put in all children is for the worship and praise of the Lord. Now, most people don't praise and worship God. They praise and worship themselves. They praise and worship their partner. They praise and worship their children to the point that it's almost a detriment to society. But the truth is, are we preparing our children to compete in the real world? And I don't mean compete in a way of a vicious cycle. What I mean is compete in the fact there are other people who need jobs too. But we seem to be importing people from other countries to do the jobs that our children are too fucking lazy to do correctly. And I see that every day. You want to take pride in your work? Represent yourself. How do you represent is a question that as an old man I ask young people who waste my time and come up and sit down with me as if they're going to give me a piece of their mind that they're the man and I'm the not because I'm homeless and they're not. Well, fuck you. You have no idea what I did in the past, and even if I told you, you wouldn't fucking believe me. But there's plenty of history and heritage in my community of who the fuck I was. Now, who I am now has come about by the liars of Satan who thought they'd interfere with my life, my rights, my opportunities, my own functioning of my body, my human body, and a lot of them were in the police force who did that. They stole from me. Now, is my inheritance being stolen by police? Well, I hope not, because it's a whole bunch of religious books, generally speaking. But where's my property? I had to beg to get the information of where my property values are. I've said, if you fucking care about me, sibling, bring me my fucking computer. And not one of them was wise enough and wonderful enough to cross the fucking state line to where I am to bring me my old computer that they basically black screened. Now, if I speak the truth on this, they're going to be upset. because people always want to win in a game that's not theirs to win. You see, the winning is not the problem. The immaturity of thinking I have the right to control you, and I have the right to tell you who you are, and I have the right to tell you what you can become, is sort of what I'm talking about in dichotomous way within this audio cast. But at the same time, I'm saying, look, we're not playing here. This is life in America. You want to have a long-term job, pick a career that has a long-term aspect. Don't just jump into it in the beginning because, like, oh, I can do this for a little while. Great. Where's it going to lead you in 5 years' time? Are you going to be stuck there? Are you going to be miserable there? Are you not going to get it? But you have to understand that most young people, their job is to go off and work and serve correctly in fast food because that's what's available to them, or in retail because that's what's available to them. Now, if they're smart and if they have the ability and if they're trustworthy, they might be able to walk over to a manufacturing company where most of our business is handled in America and get in at the ground level and work there part-time around their school. It's possible. I can't say it's possible for sure because I'm not the HR director. I don't know what their hiring standards are. But each job moves you to the next. I myself at 15 was brought in young and earlier than 16 to a fast food restaurant. I learned how to do fast food then. That's back when we had plastic numbers and metal numbers that sat in front of burgers that were out and ready to go. We weren't a short order cook agency like we've become now, which is so wasting people's time, lunch hour, and the 30 minutes that a lot of people only get for their food. Now, what we can do is go back to something more efficient. What we need to do is start taking these little teams of chaos and making them more organized. We also need to start cross-training our workers in all these spaces because most of them don't do a good enough job because they were never trained correctly in the first place, and they were not cross-trained through a program that checks off and says, this person understands all of this about our company. If people were better trained, they might be better behaved on the job, and they might not be putting contaminants into our packages, on our papers, on the things we're purchasing at the store.